All right, gang, welcome. Welcome to our conference call. I, I got hit this morning kind of between the eyes with something at church, actually. It just blew me away. And then when I got on the activity call, which is a replay of the April Instant Thunder, when they were at April Instant Thunder, Andy was teaching. Now, let me give you a clue. When Andy does the TWC activity call, guess where he's getting a lot of his stuff from? I'm talking a lot of his materials from this book, The Magic of Thinking Big, by David Schwartz. This is a foundational book in our reading list. And for example, like he talked about fear. So if you look up in the index, fear, conquering fear, 46 to 65. It's a lot of pages devoted to conquering fear. 40. Now this guy is a PhD doctor. Building confidence and destroy fear. So he talks about this, about where fear comes from. Is it real? Is it learned? Anyway, and then he talks about how to deal with it. So if you ever look at or watch it, a lot of his TWCs, he teaches out of this book, Magic of Thinking Big. And then he augments it with other books and things that he's read. But there's a chunk of it here. So I'd really encourage you, look at mine. I don't know if you can see it, but do you see all those? I have it highlighted in pink and yellow. So I read it once through and I highlight in yellow. Then I have chapters in here. I don't know how long I've had this book. There's yellow and pink, and man, sometimes I feel like I'm highlighting the whole thing because there's so many good nuggets here. So I really encourage you to pick this book up. This thing rocks totally. Okay, this rocks totally. So anyway, so I want to share that with you. So last night's Cincinnati meeting. So every time I do the builders call, it's the next day after a Cincinnati meeting. Man, I think it's one of the best hotspot meetings we've ever done. It just rocked. It was hilarious. We had so much fun. I told stories that I can't remember the last time I ever told these stories of when I first got into the business. During the, showing the plant part, we talked a little about where it came from. I talked about getting in the business and just stuff that I've not told. And everyone was rolling on the floor laughing. It was one of the most fun hotspots that I've ever done, in my experience there doing Cincinnati. Things were really moving, like crazy. It was just, people left and they believed more. And I just felt honored and humbled that, we were getting texts of how it impacted people. And it just made me feel like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right thing. I'm doing what God wants me to do. Remember, we talked about in the conference call, filling the God-sized hole. What fills my God-sized hole is serving like that and doing hotspot meetings and pouring into people. And I kind of got out there a little bit with certain things that I think made a meaningful impact. So I'm not going to repeat that stuff here. But what I am going to do is this morning I went to church and it just really hit me between the eyes. I got very emotional about it. And so I want to share it with you. So for those of you that, are not of my belief, you still can get a lot out of this because it's still, it's a meaningful story. Okay. And so I'll take it out of the Bible. Okay. All right. So this comes out of Matthew 26, 69. And there's definitely a purpose for all this, and I'll get to it, and I kind of develop it here for you, and hopefully this will help you. This is going to be probably more different than any other builder's call that you've been on, but I think it's still meaningful for creating the culture and the environment that we want to attract people to. And that's probably something meaningful in Cincinnati that I want to probably why I was set up for this, is the whole idea of creating an attractive environment for people, and the whole idea of serving people to help them become better people, okay, which is the essence of what we want to accomplish in the Alliance. We want to be better just because we need to be. We need to be better for ourselves. We need better for our people so that we attract people to us. We want to be an attractive, powerful force for change. And the only way we can do that is each and every one of us that come to a hotspot meeting, that we're constantly trying to improve and become better. Okay, so under that theme, how can we become better? And there's so many different ways, but I'm going to hit something that, it's really meaningful to me this morning. Powerful. So Matthew 26:69. Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and a maid came up to him and said, "You also were with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied it before them all, saying, "I do not know what you mean." And when he went out to the porch, another maid saw him, and she said to the bystanders, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." And again he denied it with an oath, "I do not know the man." After a little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, "Certainly you are also one of them, for your accent betrays you." Then he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, "I do not know the man." And immediately the cock crowed. And Peter remembered the saying of Jesus, "Before the cock crows, you'll deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly. Now, Peter, like one of his most staunch disciples, the crazy guy that would jump out of a boat to walk on water. One thing about Peter is he's impetuous. He kind of embodies the impetuousness of our nature to go and just do crazy stuff, which is awesome a lot of times, okay? It's good. He's the epitome of it. He's probably, if there was a bipolar apostle, he was probably because Peter was that dude went to the extreme, man. He went to, I think it was Peter who said, when Jesus was washing the apostles' feet, and I think it was Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Peter said, "Lord, I should be washing your feet." And he goes, "Seriously, Peter, I need to do this for you so that you can be with me in heaven." And Peter said, "Well, not only my feet, but my, shampoo my hair and wash my body too." See, I mean, he was really kind of an extreme guy, right? But Peter was also picked as the first pope, of the church, the first vicar of Christ on earth, because upon this rock I will build my church. Upon, instead of Simon, you are called Peter, Petra, rock, and upon this rock I'll build my church. So in all his impetuousness and his bipolar tendencies, he became the rock of the church. Okay? Now, having set that up, can you imagine the guy you picked as your rock of your church denies you? I mean, have you ever kind of tried to humanize the stories in here, these books? Imagine you're somewhere and you do something, and then your spouse denies that she even knows you. Your brother, your sister, your parents. Can you imagine if you did something and then your parents denies whatever it is? I don't know you. I don't know Alex. Who is that? I'm your son. Can you imagine someone being ignorant of you? One of the worst, it's funny, children don't understand death, but what children understand is being outside the family. Children don't, their feeling of not being part of the family, being shunned from the family, being abandoned, is worse than death. That feeling of abandonment. Can you imagine someone doing that to you, denying you, abandoning their friendship with you, denying that they even know you? How would that make you feel that your best buddy, one of your closest friends even denied that they know you? "Oh, I don't know you," to other people. If you heard someone do that, if you were, you had witness someone saying they don't know you, it would cut me so deeply. I mean, right? So, the gospel today was John 21:15. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Feed my lambs." The second time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Now this, of course, after Jesus came back to life. He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my sheep." Jesus said to him a third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was grieved because he had said to him the third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep." All right. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you girded yourself and walked where you would. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will gird you and carry you where you do not wish to go. This he said to show by what death he was to glorify God. And after this he said to him, "Follow me." One of the most powerful things about that passage is the whole idea of forgiveness. See, Jesus knew that he was going to be denied by one of his, the leader of his church. But then he let him off the hook, man. He forgave him. He said, he gave him 3 chances to hear him say how much he loved him because he wanted, Jesus forgave him. Even before he did it, he forgave him. But what he gave Peter was a chance to forgive himself. To forgive himself that he denied him. Can you imagine the guilt that you carry? Denying your best friend and knowing that you did that, and then he, dies for you, and then he comes back. He comes back to you, and then he gives you a chance. In other words, he gives Peter a chance to forgive himself because he knows that Christ forgave him. Can you imagine the leader of the church knowing that his Savior forgave him for denying him and then giving him a chance to forgive himself? It's like, wow. I think, man, the power of forgiveness. Now, what does that have to do with our business? It's a little bit like what Andy was talking about today, or maybe it was on Wednesday. Man, we all got stuff. We're all broken. We're beat up. We've got stuff inside us that just we're not proud of. But you know what? We all do. Every one of us that comes to that hotspot meeting, everyone that comes to the Alliance, we're broken in one way, shape, or form. But see, the power of the Alliance, that in our brokenness, guess what, man? We're accepted. We come broken into the meeting, we're accepted because everyone knows that they are too. You ain't got nothing on me as far as being broken. But see, we don't stay broken. We are in the process of healing. And healing begins when we first realize, you know what? That's okay. Of the stuff I've done in my past, of the things I've failed my family, of things I've done to fail myself, the things I've done to disappoint my children, the things I've done to disappoint my parents, all the failures and all the crap in my life that led me to today, that stuff was yesterday. And even though that they've cut scars in me, you know what? We all have them. But we look at our scars here at the Alliance, we look at your scars with beauty. To me, they're beautiful. To me, they're awesome. To me, it's what makes you who you are. But to rise up beyond that starts with you understanding how powerful that is to forgive yourself. Because when you come into the alliance with that spirit of desire to become better, then you realize, hey man, everyone's trying. We're all trying here. Some more than others. But eventually, if you hang around us long enough, you'll feel the power of the healing of the environment and the culture they've created, that you know what? Your scars are yours, mine are mine, but we still look beautiful in God's eyes. So you look beautiful in God's eyes. Guess what? You look beautiful in our eyes. Everyone comes with that. So in order to really take advantage of everything we have to give you, you've got to forgive yourself of all the crap. Forgive yourself of all the failures, being scared to get on the phone and not making the dials, not taking care of families, not, the one for, like a lot of guys, I just speak for myself as a man, not providing for the family the way that they should and deserve to be. Man, that guilt can be tremendous, but that guilt can be used as a recognition that, you know what, I love my family, I'm going to do something about it, right? So forgive your failures. An important part of that forgiveness is, okay, now what do I do from here? I don't wallow in thinking about it. I do something about it. It's like do. I do something, and you've got a whole group of people at hotspot meetings that will love you and say, you know what? Awesome, man. We're proud of you for making 150 dials. You could have done 200, but gosh, it's better than zero. And then if you come in with 0 dials, that's okay. You're here. You're here so you can learn how to overcome that. But you know what? We don't judge you. We love you. We want you to grow. We want to see if next week you do 50 dials. We don't judge you. We want you to grow. We want to help. But you got to start helping yourself first by forgiving yourself. And we hope to be giving you the opportunity to forgive yourself. Now, why is that important? It hit me this morning that if I can forgive myself, that means, which I'm the biggest critic of myself. Man, I grew up in life getting down on myself for not playing basketball. My temper was really bad, especially when it came to performing in sports, whether it be basketball and tennis. Those are my two main sports that I just devoted hours and hours to. And it would just burn me up when I would just yell at myself and scream and get down on myself, which is not positive by any means. And so what I realized is when I could forgive myself for some of the sins that I've done in the past against others, then that whole capacity of mercy and forgiveness comes out of me, so that when people come to hotspot meetings, it's like, man, we're happy to have you. When agents say they're going to do something, and then they don't do it, it's, look, I forgive you, man, because how many times have I done it? See, in other words, when I'm able to forgive myself, I'm able to forgive other people. I'm not here to judge. See, because the opposite of forgiveness is bitterness and grudges and judgmentalness, having judgment against other people. That is not the alliance. The alliance is riddled with the spirit of forgiveness. I look at Paul Roberts, my buddy Paul Roberts, as an example, man, of all the stuff that he's not proud of, being an alcoholic and hiding his alcoholism and letting that affect his relationship with his family and his financial situation. Biggest part of Paul moving on is forgiving himself for all those things that came out, the negative stuff that came out of alcoholism, right? And forgiving himself for that. So that now that he's sober, and now that he's, forgiven himself, man, he's like a magnet for all the other people that have those kind of issues, those addiction issues in their life. And they go to him because they feel that he's not going to be judgmental because he's lived through it. People can go up to him and know that he can empathize with them, but then he can give them words that will speak life into them forgetting themselves and helping them move on. You know what? And that's just an example. If we could all be more like that, imagine what a attractive culture we would create in the Alliance, where everyone wants to come back to hotspot meetings because they're feeling affirmed that their failures in that week or their failures in their life is not going to be judged. They're just going to be uplifted because they're a child of God that deserves a love and respect that the Father has given them, that we give them as well, right? And we put our arms around them and say, man, great to see you. And we're going to judge you. We're going to invite you back in. That's the important thing about you forgiving yourself and putting all the crap behind you. Do you know that you are if on a cellular level, your body has totally regenerated itself every 7 years? It's kind of interesting, a 7-year cycle. For some of us, that has some meaning on a spiritual level. And how do I know this? Well, I had bad allergies, like sinus allergies, all my life. I mean, severe. I would have allergy attacks during the springtime like crazy. And then in the fall for some reason. So finally in my 20s, late 20s, I got allergy shots. And so I got allergy shots over the course of like 2 years, right? I'd go in every week, and then it was every like few weeks. It was like crazy. But I would just go up, get my shot, and then my allergies like no problem. And I went for years and years, I think it was like maybe 15, 20 years, 25 years without having any problem until like maybe 10 years ago, I started developing these problems again. You know, maybe it's like 7 years ago. I started getting allergies again, and I started going, what the heck? I thought I got rid of this. I thought I took all these shots. How come it's not working? So I went to the allergist. They did a prick test where they do, on your back, they put like 70 different common allergens to see what you're allergic to. And they found out that I was allergic to some remote ragweed from England. Okay, and it's like, how could I be allergic to anything? I thought, and so the allergist informed me, he goes, well, hey, look, dude, how long has it been? I said, maybe 20 years since, I got those shots. He goes, you're lucky. Like, what do you mean I'm lucky? Because, your body regenerates every cell every 7 years. So, like, theoretically, you could have gotten a new allergy to something after 7 years of those allergy shots. I go, seriously? He goes, yeah, you should count yourself lucky, man, that you were free of that for 20 years. I'm going, oh my gosh. Which was remarkable when I'm thinking, every 7 years, you're a brand new person physically. Physically, you're a new person. Every cell has replaced itself. And I'm thinking, wow, what a great concept that physically, nothing is the same. But where is the same as up in here? See, because what does not regenerate is our memories and our thoughts, and that is always going to be there. But isn't that interesting how physically we regenerate? So here's another concept for you that hopefully will make you think. We are a lot of times hindered by our past and our memories about our past and our failures in our past that hinder us and hold us back from an awesome future. Do you know that you could be a totally different person right now, this minute, right after this conference call? You could choose to be a totally different person. But the problem with you becoming all that you want to be is all the things in your past that are holding you back. Because all the things in your past, it's like fear is learned. Like Andy said, you throw a snake in a crib with a baby, the baby doesn't know to jump out of that crib. But you throw that snake in Andy Albright's bed, he's going to be jumping out of it, like right now, which proves that fear is learned. So what holds you back is also what you've learned and experienced. Now, I love this story because I heard this, and it really didn't have nothing to do with this talk, but what it had to do was how that's true. So here's what happened. This couple got married. They were married, and they're going off to their honeymoon. So they were waiting at the gate to board the plane. I think they got there early, like an hour and a half before the flight. And so they're sitting there, and the husband says to his wife, hey, honey, I'm going to go get something to eat, and I'll be back in a minute. So she's waiting there 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and she's going, like, what's going on? So he tries to call him. He doesn't answer. So now it's an hour. They're boarding the plane, and she doesn't know what to do. So she goes to airport security and says, like, I lost my husband. I don't know where he is. And so they miss their flight, and then they can't find him. So she stays. Well, she's not going to go on her honeymoon without him. And then they go on this massive search. 3 days later, they find him wandering, within that airport area. Excuse me. He suffered amnesia. They have this word for the kind of amnesia. So he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember he got married. He doesn't know who he is. He suffered amnesia. And so she had to explain to him, we just got married. She, brought him home. And then she had to kind of indoctrinate him through pictures about his life prior to her. But here's kind of the interesting thing about that. The foods that he said he hated, obviously she married him, so she knows him. Totally different. He loved the foods that he formerly hated, and some foods he loved, he hated. His whole sense of taste and everything was like brand new. In fact, his personality changed, in some ways for the better. It was much more laid back. He was much more, I forgot what the words they described him as, just really kind of caring and just, he was way different. He was still, the essence of his personality was there, but there are just things that was way different about him. And do you know that he existed like this for a year? For a whole year, he had this amnesia, and he had to kind of reintegrate himself in a new life, basically. And this was a new man, basically, that she was learning to fall in love with again. Well, a year later, what happened was all of a sudden, I forgot what the circumstances were, but all his memories came back. Everything came back. The last thing he remembered was walking away from her at the gate. But all his memories came back. Guess what came back? His dislike of those certain foods that he didn't like. All the things came back. His personality came back to the way it was. And the doctors, they couldn't explain why. Now, isn't that interesting that someone who wiped away all his memories about, when you think about it, wiped away his memories of all his failures, right? Wiped out the memories of all his defeats. Wiped out the memories of the things that he thought he couldn't do. All of a sudden, he's a new person. Then he discovers the things he likes and doesn't like. In other words, all the things that he had learned to become the person he is, he unlearned them. His brain just forced him to unlearn them. Boom, poof, it's gone. Is that crazy? It's really nuts, isn't it? But what it says is that you can recreate yourself into a new person, into the person you want to become by making the decisions today to do the things as if they were, right? So big part of that, man, forgiving yourself of all the crap that you've caused other people and being excited about the new person that you are, right? To become what God wanted you to become, okay? It's a powerful thing. It hit me this morning, like I said today, that if we can forgive ourselves of all that, then we become more open and forgiving of others. And when you can forgive other people, when you don't hold grudges against the system, against things, against a company, against this, against that. It's like when I talk to someone I'm recruiting, and when I hear them badmouth everything about that company that they were with, and they say, it's like, golly, man, how quick would they be badmouthing me? You know what I mean? It's like when they start doing that, I go, Well, is there anything that you appreciated about that opportunity at all? I mean, it's kind of an interesting mindset, isn't it? When you focus on all the stuff that was done against you and how they did this against you and that against you, and, you know, and you dwell on those things. It's like, man, live a life of forgiveness, and then you'll have a great capacity to forgive others, no matter what they do to you, right? Truly, it's turn the other cheek. Truly. And in this business, man, there are many things that agents will do against you. There are many things agents will do to prove their disloyalty. There'll be agents that walk away and you poured a lot of time into them, but you know what? I forgive them all. They might leave you with massive chargebacks. And while I don't like the fact that they did that, I still, I forgive them. Who knows what they were thinking, right? Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. Can you imagine the guys that were scourging Jesus at the pillar, like whipping him? Oh, man. So let me finish up with this. What are the fruits of this ability to forgive others? What are the fruits of